What is a relational database? A relational database is a collection of tables. Relational database is a collection of tables. Each table is assigned a unique name. A unique name is associated with each relational database. Each table consists of a set of attributes represented in columns. Attributes are represented in columns. They are also known as fields. They represent some features. So each table consists of a set of attributes, fields, or features represented in the column. And the table stores a large set of tuples, also known as records. Tuples are represented in rows. Each row represents a tuple. So, relational database is a collection of tables. Each table is assigned a unique name. Table has columns and rows. Column represents attributes, fields, or features. And each row represents a record, also known as tuple. That is a tuple. Each tuple in a relational table represents an object. Each table in the relational database represents a particular object. The object is identified by a unique key and it is described, that is, the object is described by a set of attribute values. So in relational database, each row represents a particular object. The object is identified by a unique key and the object has a set of attributes. The semantic model, that is data model, the semantic data model used to represent or construct relational databases are known as ER data model. That is, entity relationship data model is used to construct relational databases. So, entity relationship is a semantic data model often used to construct the relational databases. This entity relationship model represents the database as a set of entities and their relationships. A set of entities and their relationships are represented by the entity relationship data model. So, relational database is a collection of tables. Each table has a unique name. The table consists of a set of attributes represented in columns, also known as fields or features. This table stores a large set of tuples in rows, also known as records. Each tuple in a relation table represents an object which is identified by a unique key as well as it is described by a set of attribute values. Now, a semantic data model called entity relationship data model is often constructed for relational databases. ER model represents database as a set of entities and relationships. Now, consider one example for relational database. Here, customer, item, employee, branch. These are four relation tables. Four tables. And other two tables are purchases and items. So here 6 relational tables are. We are going to explain the relational database using this fragment of relations from relational database for all tables. So the tables are customer, item, employee, branch, purchases, items. Now a brief explanation. The all electronics company is described by the following relational tables: customer, item, employee, and branch. Four relational tables: customer, item, employee, and branch. The relation customer consists of a set of attributes, including the customer ID, which is the unique identifier, customer name, address, age, occupation, annual income, credit information, category, and so on. The relation customer is represented by several attributes. Here, customer ID is the unique ID, and a set of attributes are related to represent this customer: name, address, age, income, credit info, category, etc. Similarly, item, employee, and branch consists of a set of attributes describing their properties. So, these four tables represents a relation. A relational database represents relation tables. Relational database also represents the relationship between multiple relation tables. So relational database represents relation table. Relation or it represents relationship between or among multiple relation tables. Or represents relationship between or among multiple relational tables. A relation database represents a collection of relation tables like customer, employee, item, branch, etc. And relationship between multiple relational tables. Example, purchases, items sold, etc. Here, the purchase table represent relation between the customer table and the item. So the multiple relation tables are related. So the purchases relationship exists between customer and item. Customer purchases item. So this creates a sales transaction that is handled by an employee. Customer purchases an item or purchases items, create sale transaction that is handled by an employee. So the purchases is a table, relation table, which represents the relationship between different relationships. Another example is item sold. List the items sold in a given transaction. Items sold represents list of items sold in a given transaction. Then works at is another example. Here, employee works at a branch of all electronics. Employee and branch are related. Employee and branch are related. Okay. Now, we have a relational database. How can a user access the data from relational database? The data can be accessed by database queries. From relational database, data can be accessed through database queries. The database queries are written in a relational query language. Database queries are written in relational query languages. Example for relational query language is SQL. Using relational query language like SQL, that data can be accessed by database queries. There exists graphical user interface to assist the data access. We can directly use the SQL database queries, or we can use graphical user interface as assistance. In graphical user interface, the user may provide a menu to specify the attributes to be included in the query and the constraints on these attributes. So there is a graphical user interface where there are different menus present. User need to select the attributes and the constraints on these attributes. Then this query, then the user given query is transformed into a set of that relational operations. So from the graphic in the graphical interface, the user selects attributes as well as constraints. This is converted into a query. This query can be transferred into different performed using different relational operations. Include the different relational operations are join, selection, and projection. Join, selection, and projection are different relational operations. So the user given query is executed using some relational operations like join, selection, and projection. Then the result is optimized for the efficient processing. So how data is accessed from database, relational database. From relational database, data can be accessed using SQL queries directly or using graphical user interface. Then a user uses the graphical user interface, a set of menus and a set of menus to represent attributes as well as constraints are given. The user selects the attributes and constraints. Then it becomes a query. That query is transformed using some relational operations such as join, selection, and projection. For the efficient processing, it is optimized. Join, selection, and projection operations are performed, and it is optimized for efficient processing. So this is about the relational data. Now, when we use relational databases for data mining application, at that time, just the searching of beyond the searching operation, some trends or data patterns finding is also executed. When the relational databases are applied for using for data mining, then beyond the basic search or just retrieving the data, it searches for trends or data patterns. For example, the data mining systems can analyze customer data to predict the credit risk of new customers based on their income, age, and previous credit information. When a new customer comes, checks his or her previous credit information, that is represented by C, age, and income, we can predict whether the customer predict the risk of the customer. Okay. So we have a relational database. In that relational database, the several attributes or features of the customer are present. When a new customer comes, then we can predict his or her credit risk by analyzing the data available in the databases as well as the attribute values of that person. In normal relational database system, this can't be performed. The data mining systems may also detect deviations. When we use data mining system in the relational databases, we can detect variations also. The advantage of detecting variation is that the salesperson can identify which items are sold frequently and which are not sold less. And they can make new strategies, new business strategies to improve the sale. So that relational databases are one of the most commonly available and rich information repositories. They are a major data form in our study of data. So, relational databases are the commonly available and rich information repositories. So, many of the data mining studies are performed on relational databases. So, relational database is a important data repository for data mining. So, this is the one type of data repository where we can apply data mining. The next data repository is data warehouse.